Hi, all. It's Jan of the Jan Files, and I want to encourage you to sign up and subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that notified button. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to give you a quick update on Epstein, and again tell you that it's so important. And I know most of you know this because I see you posting and I see you going Epstein files, release the Epstein files. I don't think that this DOJ is going to release anything unless forced to by somebody, and I don't know who that is, unless it's the Republicans, which I wouldn't hold my breath because you'd be dead. So I want to talk about the latest kind of small update and how it's connected to the past. So on April 9th, three private investigators that had been contacted by the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee were supposed to provide, some transcripted testimony, I think. But anyway, the most important thing was they have evidence, physical evidence, that they were supposed to make sure they didn't destroy or tamper with, and that they wanted them to submit it to the Democrats. Now, the Democrats don't have subpoena power, so that didn't happen. So they basically were pretty much ignored by these private investigators. Now, who are these private investigators and when did they come into the picture? So when they came into the picture was literally at the time that Jeffrey Epstein was being investigated for in Palm Beach for raping little girls. And so they came in about, I just want to make sure because I want to get their names right too. Before 2005. So how do we know this? So these guys, these three men, I don't know if they were all hired at the same time. Two of them had created an agency together by the name of Riley Kiraley, which is Riley as you would think it was spelled, Riley, and Kirally, Detective Agency. There were two former Miami cops, and they were with this other guy responsible for taking Epstein's possessions out of different residences and moving them to 6 storage facilities that he had placed around the United States. And these the guys that were cops, were Miami cops. And so prior to the Palm Beach Police Department going in and with a warrant to Jeffrey Epstein's house, they were tipped off by somebody in the Palm Beach County Police Department or within the prosecutor's office, state attorney's office. Who knows who it was? But so Epstein was tipped off, and so he was able to remove all the cameras and computers and all that stuff out of his house before the Palm Beach police showed up. Eventually, the Palm Beach police chief, Ryder, who is a good guy, said that this, I don't know what's happening here because the actions of the state attorney and the prosecution didn't make any sense to him because he felt like they had enough evidence with 40 witnesses to prosecute Epstein and put him away for good. Well, obviously, we all know that didn't happen. He called the FBI, and the FBI created a prosecution memo of like 83 pages and an indictment that was supposed to be 60. And eventually, what turned up in the Epstein files that were finally presented was redactions in those documents. The documents weren't as long as they supposedly were. And you know, nothing came of the FBI involvement because then Alex Acosta came in and gave a sweetheart deal orchestrated by him and Dershowitz and Ken Starr and Lefcourt and another attorney by Black, the last name of Black. So all these guys, powerful men, powerful attorneys, got together to create this deal that Alex Acosta signed onto. Basically, which he said, we didn't have the evidence. We didn't think these girls were good witnesses. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. And they literally prosecuted, no, that's not the right word. They literally came to this settlement agreement without any input from the victims. And when they actually went to the court with a settlement agreement, they still didn't tell the victims. The victims didn't know about any of this until after it was done, which is highly irregular and highly fucked up. So just an FYI, that's where that whole thing stands in terms of the three investigators, the private investigators. There's kind of one little thing about, one of them may be gone. I'm not sure, but it doesn't really matter. There are at least two of them who are absolutely alive and are not testifying. Now, it's likely they won't unless forced to. And we'll just have to see if the Republicans are willing to go that far. Some are, some aren't. Comer has no interest in making any of this happen. So I guess the only hope we have, unless a whistleblower comes forward, is the Democrats taking over after the midterm. So that's not till next January. But in the meantime, we still can have these conversations, we can still make them public, and we can still make sure that people around us are informed, okay? Because that is everything. And I still maintain the belief that what happened with Epstein at some point is just going to blow up. And when I say blow up, I mean blow the fuck up in a way that none of us are anticipating. Even though I'm saying that, I don't think any of us are really prepared for the depth of depravity of the people that are involved. From our government to other governments, it doesn't matter, Democrat or Republican. It really doesn't matter, folks. It's about these depraved individuals. Most of the men, it seems like there are some women who participated, so it's not just all men, okay? So anyway, that's, excuse me, the latest update. The other thing I want to talk about, maybe pontificate about, is the amount of corruption that we accept and the amount of corruption that is embraced by our institutions. There's, I don't want to go into the exact, just because there's too many and it doesn't really make sense, but you can look at a lot of the boards of these very prominent institutions and you will find people that have had to make settlement agreements with the Justice Department for millions, if not billions. These people still sit on these damn boards. Like, okay, they made a settlement agreement and that's okay. Everything's wiped out. Doesn't matter who the fuck they screwed. Doesn't matter the laws they breached. They made a settlement agreement. They paid $1 billion and they're okay. And now they're still on the boards. And this is a whole thing that we're doing and that people are doing, especially the elite do, to say, okay, he paid his dues, normally typically white men. They paid their dues, and so we're going to move on. Yeah, but no, because here's the thing. By having these people still on your boards, you're legitimizing them. You're making them okay in the public's eye. And that's wrong. It's absolutely fucking wrong. And I want to give you a good example of somebody who has been washed by the elite and by the Republican Party. And that man's name is Senator Rick Scott. Now, I got the details here, and this is a real, where am I going? Where is the thing? Sorry. So, Rick Scott, prior to being the governor of Florida, and then after he became the governor, he then became the senator from Florida. So I wanted to talk to you about, oh shit, where is it? Oh, it's here on the floor, sorry. About the things that he did. So I'm going to read this really quickly, hopefully. Rick Scott ran Columbia HCA, the largest for-profit hospital chain in the U.S. The company pleaded guilty to 14 felonies, and paid $1.7 billion in fines. So the fraud was systematic and deliberate. The company overbilled, are you ready for it? Medicare. Inflated diagnoses, falsified cost reports, and paid illegal kickbacks to doctors. Federal investigators said Scott was personally briefed on the fraudulent billing practices. Now, he walked away rich. He was pushed out by the board. He got $9.8 million in cash. I know, I'm going to stop using my hands. And a stock worth over $350 million. And he pleaded the fifth 75 times. 75 times he pleaded the fifth. He was never charged personally, but even though he was responsible and the investigator said he knew all of this, it didn't matter to the people of Florida. They still voted for him for governor. Okay, well, they have DeSantis now, so we can talk about Florida and what they do. But and not only was he then governor, he went to be senator. This man literally ripped off Medicare. And what he is doing, and he's trying to do, and he did with the big, beautiful bill, which he, voted for, of course, every single Republican did, was like they're saying, well, there's all this fraud in Medicare and Medicaid, and we have to stop it. The fraud isn't the people who benefit. It is not people who benefit from Medicare that commit fraud. It's not the people who benefit from Medicaid who commit fraud. The numbers are actually 0.01 for the beneficiaries of both of these programs committing fraud. The fraud happens on the provider side. The people like Rick Scott's health company commit fraud, not the people. And this MF is sitting there when the big, beautiful bill came out and subsequently decrying Medicare, decrying Medicaid, saying we need to cut these services and yada, 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 yada. And this man committed fraud with his company. And Florida, the residents of Florida, overlook that. Why this time? Was he promising them low gas prices? Was he promising them lower housing prices? What was he promising them that they overlooked it? Somebody needs to tell me, because this is now how we operate as a country. People overlook all this crap, all this shit, and legal stuff. People have been proven to be guilty and saying, it's not a big deal as long as I have low gas prices and as long as I have, I don't know, what else do you want? Affordable housing, lower rent. They don't care, honestly, because even when they don't get that shit, they still support these people who are corrupt. And this is absolutely far more about the GOP than the Democrats. And this is a big distinction because people who commit this shit could be Democrats and Republicans. Just like with Eric Swalwell. When it came out, Democrats are like, bang, 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 boom, 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 gone. Right? Republicans can't find it within them to do anything remotely like that. They don't care about somebody doing criminal acts, as we know by January 6th. They do not profoundly care about right from wrong. And this, if you're having these kinds of conversations with any Republican or anybody who supports or supported Trump, you need to fucking point this out. Because there is right from wrong. January 6th was wrong. Attacking the Capitol Police was wrong. ICE is wrong. The cops that are supporting them and mimicking their behavior is wrong and illegal. They are breaking our laws, and the GOP doesn't give a flying fuck. So anyway, that's my rant. The first half was Epstein, the second half was a rant. But both things are important because it's the kind of thing you need to engage with people on and talk about. Because there are cracks now in this wall, okay? There are cracks in the MAGA wall. I don't know what the fuck it's going to mean. I mean, Tucker Carlson, I don't trust for as far as I can throw him, but there are cracks. It's important to stay at it, to stay with it, and to communicate. And that's my video for today. Stay focused. Please support me. Take care.